I'm Brian Goldfinger from Goldfinger Injury Lawyers. We'd like to wish you and your family a happy and a safe holiday season. Everyone here at my law firm hopes that you don't need our services, especially this time of year. Visit goldfingerlaw.com.
Hello and welcome to the Raptors Reaction Podcast. I'm your host, William Loom, speaking to you after the Toronto Raptors defeated the Miami Heat by a score of 125-115. Geez, I could really get used to the Raptors continuously winning games. The Raptors... look, the Heat make everything hard, and the Heat, despite the fact that they only shot 41% from the field, were able to push the Raptors right until the end. They were mad physical, as you could always expect. The Heat are the ultimate try-hard team right now. Not a lot of talent, but they try really hard, and they make you play really hard. They make you play to their level, basically, and the Raptors had to basically keep their starters on until the end of the game, and they had to show a lot of composure, which I thought they did a good job of doing. And I think that starts and ends with Kawhi Leonard, who thrives in these types of games. He really does. It's physical, but he doesn't really... It's not he's impervious to being physical play, because he will still get bothered by bigger defenders. I thought, for example, that Justice Winslow gave him a bit of trouble tonight, just as Stanley Johnson did. I think Winslow and Johnson are pretty similar physically in terms of being bulky 6'8" dudes who can really put a body on guys. And Kawhi kind of likes to bully people, but Kawhi took that challenge on, and Kawhi was real solid throughout the game. He hit some big threes. He had 29 points in 36 minutes, was a plus 23, had 10 rebounds as well. The rebounding was, a bit of an issue for the Raptors because the Heat really made it a point to attack the boards. Kawhi was great. And also, the guy who was killing the Raptors all night, Dwyane Wade, with a throwback performance, setting a Heat record with 35 points off the bench. Yet another record for Dwyane Wade to claim for the Heat's record books. But yeah, the Heat was... they were dominating. And even in the fourth quarter, Dwyane Wade started out really hot and, was basically cutting the lead. And the Raptors weren't really in trouble, but they needed to actually close out the game. And, Nick Nurse turns to Kawhi Leonard, puts Kawhi on Dwyane Wade, and all of a sudden Dwyane's shooting air balls. Dwyane's getting the ball stripped from his hands, just his bare hands. Kawhi just ripping it from him and then, saving the possession and giving it to Danny Green, and the Raptors going the other way and scoring. But it's nice to have a luxury like that. It's nice to have a leader, really, who can lead by example and basically, carry the team when the team kind of needs it. Because, you got to tip your hat to the Heat, man. Eric Spoelstra, it's unfortunate what's happening to his hair. He's, the most handsome coach in the league, although it's starting to get tested right now. But he's a great, great coach. And you see it with the way the Heat play. First off, the fact that they can have two full units of guys who can come in and contribute is phenomenal. Their starting unit did not play well. He did not have any hesitation in benching Hassan Whiteside, who only had 12 minutes tonight because he shot 1 of 5 and grabbed 5 rebounds and didn't do anything. And he smartly went with Adebayo, and Adebayo was phenomenal. 16 points, 21 rebounds with 12 free throw attempts. Adebayo was just an issue all night. But yeah, the Heat play, a specific system, and they play the system really hard, they swing the ball, they move it around really well, they fake well, they drive well, they cut, they know where everyone is going. It's a pain in the ass to have to play the Heat. And based on the talent here, you got to give, Spoelstra a lot of credit for doing what he did. But, the Raptors, quite honestly, they're just more talented. It is what it is. We saw wins like this against the Heat last year, too. I remember... whether it was last season or maybe the season before that, there was a game where DeMar had 40 on Josh Richardson and it kind of carried him that way. But those games where the Raptors would win against the Heat almost felt like, okay, one guy had a spectacular performance and carried them. Today, I don't know. 29 points, 10 rebounds is kind of par for the course for Kawhi. It's blasphemous to say that, but, you could expect that on a nightly basis. And yeah, Pascal had a really good night. He shot 8 of 9 from the field, made his only 3-point attempt. He's now 9 for his last 18, dating back 2 weeks, which is obviously a phenomenal rate. Also hit all 4 of his free throws and had 21 points. But aside from that, everyone just had a regular night, and this is just how the Raptors are. They're a damn good team, and you got to give a lot of credit to Kyle Lowry. I thought he was really smart in recognizing that the Heat were going to set up in half-court defense and be a little bit tough to score on there. So, run as much as possible, get easy transition buckets. The Heat also were going hard for the offensive glass. I mean, the Heat got 17 offensive rebounds, so obviously it worked. But, when they didn't get the rebound, the Raptors got the rebound, especially when Kyle got the rebound, he would just push the ball up the court, and he got easy dunks for OG Anunoby. He got a dunk for Pascal. He got, a nice, it wasn't really a transition play, sort of a semi-break, but Kawhi had gone down the floor early, sealed his man. Kyle throws a pass over the top. That's basically been a pass that Kyle's been trying to deliver to Kawhi pretty much all season, and it hasn't really worked out. I don't think Kawhi kind of expects to pass over the top. I think he's really expecting the ball in the post where he can then, turn and then score. But Kyle likes to sort of lead his guys, and Kawhi finally basically got that, and I think he sealed Magooter or whoever it was on the Heat and scored, but Kyle was great in terms of pushing the tempo. I mean, the starting unit, generally speaking, was phenomenal. Every starter was plus 19 or better. Danny Green and Kyle being plus 19, Kawhi being plus 23, JV being plus 24, Pascal being plus 25. Whereas the bench, was, I wouldn't even say they struggled. It's just like the Miami's bench just completely outplayed the Raptors bench. And it's not even so much the Raptors struggled so much as the Heat played really well. So I want to give the Heat credit there. You want to show them respect, unlike other coaches in San Antonio. But, it was just a good performance by the Raptors. You could get used to things like this, which is crazy because, man, the Raptors are 17-4. They've rebounded from the 3-game losing streak, which I think their win streak is now up to 5. They have the best road record in the league. They haven't played the best opposition quite yet, and, we'll see some more difficult matchups coming up soon with the Clippers, the Warriors, the Nuggets. There's a tough road trip coming up, and quite honestly, it's gonna be tough for me because these games are really late, and I'm not thrilled about covering those games. But regardless, I mean, the Raptors have looked really strong, and this is just yet another example. I mean, like, they get most teams' best effort most nights. Like, the Heat came in and played with a lot of effort, and I thought Spoelstra, really managed this game to win. And the Raptors just took their best punch. I mean, Dwyane Wade had 35 points off the bench, and the Raptors were like, that's cool. We'll still beat you by 10 points, And it just really speaks to the talent. One guy I actually really want to highlight was JV. JV had a great game. JV's had, a couple strong games here where, tonight, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 8 of 10 shooting, 24 minutes. The offense isn't even that much of an outlier because, like, honestly, whoever's playing with Lowry nowadays is just going to get so many open looks. Like, Lowry's basically been the best passer in the league when it comes to passing to the roll man in a pick and roll situation, and both JV and Serge, when they played with Kyle, have really thrived. And JV certainly got a lot of great looks from Kyle today, as he always does. But I just like the fact that JV is able to thrive in these physical games. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a nice matchup to have. Like, the Heat, Adebayo was just running amok. Serge, as much as Serge has been great this year, he just struggles basically with guys like that, like physical, energetic dudes who can get around him, and really just outwork Serge, because that's not really Serge's game. Serge's game is not really to hustle. Serge is really to be in the right positions and block. He's like a weird Marc Gasol in that way. I don't know. But, Adebayo was sort of running, amok, and that's where you put JV in. I mean, JV is so physical. He takes up so much space in the paint. He really solidifies your rebounding. And I thought JV was just really solid all night. And you got to show JV a lot of love. This team is just really good. I don't know what else to say. Like, the Heat, the three-point shooting, obviously, with the Heat is, like, always an issue. Like, we've seen it against the Raptors, like, a couple times where Wayne Ellington will pop open for threes. He got 7 looks today. He hit, 3 of them. Josh Richardson hit, or got open for 8 looks. He hit 3 of them. Olenek hit 4, hit 3 threes. Dwyane Wade hit 4 threes, which is obviously by design, but still crazy number. It's a bit of an issue where the Raptors, guarding guys coming around handoffs. It's kind of an issue all season. It's a tough play for the Raptors to defend because they send their guards to chase hard over the top so much that there usually is someone open, whether that's the big man popping or, a floater in the lane for somebody. But, like the Heat, credit to them. I mean, they don't usually hit 15 threes. So, you got to give them some love for that. But again, the Raptors took their best punch and just took it. Like, they're just that good. They just really are that good, especially at home. The Raptors have shown a real focus, in the way they've been able to close games. One minor positive off the bench I would like to talk about is the fact that the bench is starting to show some moments where you're thinking like, you know what, CJ, I can count on you for like some surprise threes. And today he hit 2 of those surprise threes. I think both in the first quarter, both very tough looks, but he made 2 of them, which is good. He's always going to have tough looks. He's always going to be aggressive that way, but you usually would expect him to hit at a higher rate than what he has all season. So it was nice to see him hit those 2 threes. It was also nice to see him, just have a couple of better performances of late. It's still really grading on a curve because he's probably the worst player in the rotation, but when he hits those threes, it does help the bench a lot. I think it just helps sort of the logical flow and rhythm of guys like Fred VanVleet and Delon Wright who can actually find a score instead of finding their own shots. And, Delon, I liked his aggression from 3 tonight, hit 2 threes in the same spot against Dwyane Wade. Dwyane Wade has basically known Delon Wright since, Delon was like basically a teenager because Darrell Wright, his older brother, played with the Heat for a long time, and so Delon used to hang out with D-Wade all the time. I think they trained together sometimes in the summertime too. He's like a family friend, I guess. But yeah, Delon, hit 2 threes against Dwyane. I feel like that was fun. Delon also showed up for a random putback, I think on a Kawhi miss. Those are the types of plays that you want to see Delon Wright make. Sort of those fill in the gaps type of plays where he comes out of nowhere. Because you don't expect the point guard to come in and get a putback, and he does that. And same thing with VanVleet. A couple of mid-range jumpers. I like that because he does really struggle to create space right now from the three-point line and then also going to the basket. So you got to have an in-between game. He also hit a big 3, I think in the third or the fourth quarter. I'm not exactly sure, but confident catch and shoot, stepped right into it, about probably 27, 28 feet. So, you're starting to see some flashes off the bench. The bench definitely got outplayed tonight because the Heat's bench played phenomenal, led by Dwyane Wade's 35, and also Adebayo had 21 rebounds. But you're starting to see a little bit more signs of life from the bench. And it's good because the starting unit is already dominant. Like, every night they're dominant. So if the bench has just come in and not wet themselves, it'll be good. And then if they can actually extend leads like they did last year, well, then you're looking at 60-plus wins. And right now the Raptors are well on pace for above 60 wins. So it's a nice time to watch basketball in the city. We're going to get a really good matchup coming up soon. On Thursday, the Raptors play the Warriors. But as for this game, the 3 stars, first star, Kawhi Leonard, second star, Kyle Lowry, and then third star, Pascal Siakam. If you had to go 3 stars for the season, those are the 3 guys you would pick. Yeah, all 3 guys have been phenomenal. And then in terms of your Gerald Henderson, obviously that's Dwyane Wade. Shout out to the man, 36 years old. Just became a father again. To see him kind of have these kind of performances, while a guy like Carmelo, who I think has even less physically than Dwyane Wade, is unable to even hold down any position, is just, you got to really appreciate D Wade. He's one of the most underappreciated players of all time. He's one of my favorite players to watch growing up, and I always thought he was such an underrated player, and he always played with really poor talent. Like the Heat, like obviously like outside the Big 3 era, but like he used to play with like Mario Chalmers and like Michael Beasley, and Udonis Haslem. You respect him for who he is, but like he was never necessarily that talented. Jermaine O'Neal, like just like random dudes. And to see D Wade basically succeed back then, and to see him continue to be relevant now in a year where he's about to hang it up. Dwyane Wade's had a great year. He's shooting a career high from 3. He saw it tonight with 4 threes. You got to really respect Dwyane. So there you go. That does for the Reaction Podcast. A couple things to plug. One, if you're listening and you're expecting the Raptors Weekly Podcast, that's going to come out sometime Monday afternoon. The game ran late. Also, I went to the Amine concert. It was actually a really great show. But yeah, it's a little too late right now to record the pod. So I'm going to put it out on Monday in the afternoon. So look out for that. I'm going to try to hopefully get a guest. Yeah, there's that. And also, if you are, hoping to come out to Hoop Talks at Rivoli on basically Queen West, come out and do it. Queen and Spadina. It's on Wednesday. I'm going to be on a panel with Vivek and Katie, who have both been on this podcast before. Blake's going to be there. Some of the other Raptors beat writers are going to be there. Ashley Dawkins is going to be hosting. She's great. And also, it's just a great way to basically meet, other people in the basketball community. It's like I at least personally, like, it's hard to find a lot of people that are really interested in, Raptors games in that sort of intense way. And this is a great way to meet those fans in the city. I feel like there's not great meetup spots for the Raptors for some reason. Maybe I'm wrong. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I'd love to go to some of these events, but, this is one of those rare events where you get to go and really, be amongst basketball nerds, basically. And, it's a great event. And also, if you're buying tickets, you can type in my last name, LOU, for $5 off the ticket. So check out Hoop Talks. It's going to be on Wednesday night. I don't know what else you're doing on Wednesday night. There's no Raptors game. You might as well come out to the bar, have a couple of drinks, meet some people, listen to some people, and have a good time. So that does it for the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. And I'll be back after the next game.